Cheers. What happens if you overstay your visit in Europe? Now, since the UK has left the European Union, it no longer has freedom of movement. Now, you're probably already aware of this, that you've got 90 in every 180 days. That's all been incorporated within the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. Now, if you're in another third country that doesn't have such agreement, such as the United States, well, they have to apply for a Schengen visa. Fortunately for you in the UK, you've got it sort of written into that Trade and Cooperation Agreement, so you haven't got to apply for it. It makes it easier. But you've still got to abide by the same rules, you see. So what happens if you overstay that visa, that 90 in every 180 days? That could be rolling. No, it could. Well, that ain't good if you do. No. It's considered a very serious offence. They put you on a rack, they do, and okay, they don't do that. They put you in the stocks, okay, they don't do that either. But what they will do is, well, depending on what country you're actually in, or where you got caught, maybe at, well, passport control, well, you might just get a fine. Just a small fine. You might just get a warning, if you're lucky. But also, you could get a very large, hefty fine, but also banned from the Schengen Area. And quite often, it could be, well, 3 years. Well, the other thing that could happen. Let's say, for instance, you got stopped in France, for instance, by the gendarmes. And they look at your passport, and they look at when you get in the country, when you plan to leave and what have you. And then they see there's a discrepancy, you've been longer than 90 days. Oh. As far as they're concerned, they think, okay, you might be considering staying longer and becoming an even worse offender than what you already are. Maybe you're not aware of what's going on. Well, you could potentially risk deportation and a ban and a hefty fine. Now, if you're applying for a visa, like you haven't got to do in the UK because you've got your 90 in every 180 days, but you might want to get an extension, so there's that too as well. We'll get into that in a moment. But there's 3 types of Schengen visa. You've got a single entry Schengen visa, which means you can come into the Schengen zone once and then you leave. Okay. The 90 in every 180 days applies. And then you've got double entry visa, which is valid for 90 days, but allows you 2 entries. So on the second exit, that's invalidated. There's no more. Now, you can also apply for a multi-entry visa, valid for 90 days, and it allows you sort of multiple entry exits, but the 90 in every 180 days rule, that still applies. In that period, you can't obviously try and twist it to suit you. Yeah, no, you can't do that. Also, the thing you've got to watch out for, you might be saying, so, well, I'm going to come into this country here, I'm going to leave the EU via this route, what have you, and you don't get your passport stamped. Well, then potentially you could be considered as an overstay when you try to gain re-entry. Well, you can extend your stay if you want to. But it's only granted on limited and rather exceptional circumstances. And that request has got to be, well, it's got to be a written request. And most likely in the language, or they might insist on the language of that country. So you might struggle with that one. Out comes Google Translate. Maybe. Well, once you made this written request, they obviously will look at it and what have you. They're pretty tough on it, that they are. But, but circumstances could be humanitarian. Maybe you are, well, a charity worker, for instance, and you haven't quite finished your project. So you apply for extending your visa. So that's a possibility. Maybe you didn't manage to get into, you applied for your visa for a period of time, but you didn't get into the country, so you got to the end of your Schengen visa. You've only got maybe a week left, or a couple of weeks left, or a month left on it, instead of 90 days. You might get it extended that way. And then you've got force majeure, hurricanes and stuff like that, which might cause a little bit of an issue, so you can extend your visa if you have to. Maybe COVID, for instance. A pandemic. Or very, well, important personal reasons. Let's say, for instance, you had a member of family, it's a reason for your travel. You come to France, for instance, because a member of your family's just passed away. It could be any country, obviously, within the Schengen zone. and they passed away and you haven't managed to sort out their stay, maybe the funeral got delayed or something, you can then apply for, well, an extension to your Schengen visa. Seems fair enough to me. Now, if you knew all this is potentially going to happen, you might think to yourself, well, in France, for instance, you think, I might get, I'm definitely going to be over the 90 days, and, you know, so maybe I need to think about this. How do I, you know, do everything I need to do within that period of time? Well, you can, in France, you can apply for a 12-month long stay visa. You can probably do it in other Schengen zone countries as well. But, you know, I live in France, so I can really suggest that, you know, that's where my knowledge base is. So, you can apply for a 12-month long stay visa. You haven't got to stay for 12 months. No. And if you do decide you want to stay even longer, you can apply for a carte de séjour on the 10th or 11th month. If that is your plan. You say, oh, I like it here, I want to stay. Maybe you could do that. The only thing is, with the long-term 12-month long stay visa, they won't allow you to work. You can't work on that. No, that's not a work permit as such. So anyway, I hope that was of use to you and helpful, and just try to explain the risks involved with overstaying your visa, your Schengen visa. Even if it's been included in your trade and cooperation agreement, you've still got the rules to abide by. The beauty about it, obviously, what was being negotiated, it is a rolling thing, so it's always there. So you haven't got to apply for your Schengen visa for a specific period of time, you know, between that month and that month, so to speak. In the UK, it's rolling. You know, for instance, in the UK, don't get me wrong, it's not a benefit of Brexit, obviously, because you had freedom of movement. Obviously, that was fantastic freedom of movement. It allows you to hop, skip and jump whenever you flip well like. But not now. You have to abide by rules. Different rules. Restricted rules, to be fair. So, yeah, so the UK has got some preferential treatment that's been negotiated because we've got a trade deal as such, for what good it is. Yeah, there are some perks, obviously. But anyway, you tell me, have you had any experience of this? Have you had your passport stamped as an overstayer? Because it's happening quite a lot, you know, because people are making these mistakes. They are. And if you are worried that you're going to get it wrong, just use an app. You know, if you've got your mobile phone, what have you, your smartphone, use an app, that'll help you. But also, stick it in the calendar, to get your calendar dates in there. So you know, just adding up the days and what have you, you'll know that you've overstayed or not. Just be careful. Very, very careful. Because you don't want to be banned from that country and the rest of the Schengen zone. No. It'd be rather insular, wouldn't it? Anyway, cheers. Thank you for watching. Please boot the old like button because it helps the channel, you know. It really does. Anyway, ta-ta.